Uh, Looking at this game, we saw a really physical football game, both directions, both sides, all phases, and great challenge from we think a really good Philadelphia team, and we're fired up to get out of that thing with a win. And a lot of good stuff happened. We really pleased to see the offense continue to find the way, creating big plays and changing the field and putting points on the board. It's really a big swing we've made in the last 3 weeks, and we'll hopefully can continue to keep pushing. And the balance that we saw in the running game and the passing game yesterday really was what we look for. But it's the first time we really had a really good feel for the running game the way we'd like to see it. So things are getting better. Meanwhile, we got some guys banged up in this game, which I know you'll want to ask about. And some guys stepped up and did a really nice job yesterday. Reese Odiyama did a nice job coming in. It was great to see George Fent come back in the game after getting banged up. Probably the first time he's ever had a chance to do that. And guys that stepped in on the other side, Nico played well at corner, and Stephen Terrell got in there and did a nice job too in the plays he got. So we had some good things happen in the game. Looking forward and to what's coming up this week, and so it was a good outing.
As it stands now, how possible might it be that both sides can get back before the season ends?
No, we don't know anything about that right now. We're not gonna know that for a couple weeks, how it's turning.
Was it a fracture in his shoulder blade?
Yeah.
And does that involve surgery or anything?
No.
Or?
You just got to wait through it and see how it goes.
Just in general, have you seen a game with that many injuries both ways for a team like that? I think there was 17 total guys between both of you.
No, I don't know why. It's amazing to see it like that. Like I made mention just a week ago, we had one guy with a turned ankle, was coming out of the game, and so you see all these guys on both sides of the ball getting, particularly the running backs, took a big hit. It's just unusual. It was a crazy day yesterday, in the league. A lot of crazy stuff happened.
How is Troy Pope?
He's got a legitimate high ankle sprain.
So do you have to do anything with the running back depth?
We'll see.
Is George Farmer in a position where he could help you if you
Possibly, yeah. He's a prospect to do that.
How about Earl Thomas and Deshaun Shedd? What's their status?
Both those guys have hamstring strains and kind of first-degree strains that we're going to have to wait and see how it goes and how they handle it and whether or not they're able to get back. We don't know that right now.
This season, with Russell's changing health early on and the offensive line having to mature and gel, your thoughts on how Coach Bevel has managed to adapt to the changing circumstances week to week to get you to where you are now?
We spent a number of weeks kind of in flux, not trying to figure out what we could do, and I think you can see. I think you can see the impact of that. By just what's happened, and we've had to be very patient. I think what's really exciting to see is how we've made the turn as Russell has come out of it, and a couple other guys got well. It really made a difference, and we were able to start opening up again and getting things moving like we had hoped we could, going into the season. So I think Bev has done a fantastic job of adapting and keeping us going and keeping us in the positive and continuing to take care of the football like we have and to give us a chance to win games. And now that you could see Russell was at his best last week, and he looked normal to me. I thought he looked normal. I didn't think there was any restriction last week in this past game, and he was very effective. And so we're fitting off that and getting some good results. And I really think that Tom and Bev have done a really nice job of adapting to make this happen.
You mentioned after the game you didn't get a good look at the touchdown throw to Jimmy. Just what did you think of the throw?
Yeah, it's an amazing play. It's a very, very unusual throw to make, because with all the momentum he had going to his left and to flick it back in to see it happen and all, that was a beautiful play.
He had another one where he was rolling out that he threw at a really weird angle too. What makes him so good throwing, kind of going against, I guess?
Yeah, he's an extraordinary natural athlete. He can just do everything. He can throw and catch, and I'm sure he can hit a golf ball and he can shoot hoops, and he can just do everything. And there was a comment I heard about him, some baseball stuff, and in reference to the kinds of throws that you have to make as a second baseman, where you catch the ball and you have to throw the ball over here, that kind of action and ability to separate your body, lower body from your upper body, and do that was kind of what that throw was all about when we're talking about here. He's running this way and he throws the ball back in here, with accuracy and finesse and all of that. There's a lot of those things you can't coach those and teach those. The guys either can do it or they can't. And he's been a marvelous performer and athlete his whole life, and he uses all of those skills when it comes time. And the great throw he makes to Doug, too, on the scramble, I don't know if that's the one you're referring to. Doug's going this way, and he's running into the line of scrimmage, and he throws the ball over to his right. Those are incredible plays, and plays that we look forward to seeing because he can do it. But I think it's due to all of the general overall athleticism that he has.
He's so accurate when he is throwing on the run and when he's moving around and stuff. Is that just natural athleticism, or is he able to keep his mechanics pretty good even in those kind of chaotic situations, or are mechanics out the window?
Yeah, the answer is yes, about 3 times there. Yeah, to all of that. It takes all of that and savvy, instincts, confidence, timing. All of those things, come into play. The quarterback position is such a difficult spot to play, but the way he does it, and the way there's a few guys that play like this, they just call on this marvelous sense, and timing and feel and all that.
Do you have him practice those awkward throws or awkward angles?
Well, it pretty much happens in practice, We really encourage our guys to move, whenever they can in practice, and we just kind of count over time. He's always messing around with throws and stuff when he warms up, early part of practice, some different types of throws and things. He looks forward to kind of trying out stuff, but he's been making these throws since he was a kid, it's for whatever reason. That's why I say to you, when guys that grow up as scramblers, they've already thrown thousands of throws of that. It's like playing in the park, he's fabulous at it.
And does Jimmy's response to that when he was scrambling reflect the growth in the connection?
I don't know. I think Jimmy's a natural athlete himself. He's an incredible athlete too, and so he has the sense to do marvelous things also. But I do think that there's. We're really connected to Russell's ability to move in all ways. Everybody has to be. The linemen have to be, and all the receivers and the backs and everybody. Everybody's a beneficiary at some time or other. And we also believe it's all about effort too. You got to keep working in these plays, and so that's what the kinds of things we stress, and we try to make a huge deal about it because it is a great asset for us.
How did Thomas Rawls make it through the game?
Oh, he's banged up now. He threw his body around. He was like in a train wreck, but he'll be taken care of this week. We'll get him back, and really excited to see him play for us. He played great, and he looked terrific. A little bit out of control a couple times, but he's going to be on the verge of out of control if he's at his best anyway, so that's just fine with us. But he is banged up, and we'll look to get him back by Sunday.
And you said yesterday, obviously, Alex Collins maybe moves up into a more prominent
Sure.
role. How would you assess his progress so far?
I think Alex has made a lot of progress. Alex has really done some marvelous stuff since we were in camp. He's kind of restructured his body a little bit. He's gotten a different level of conditioning that we've seen him change. Lost some weight, trimmed down. Practices with great intensity every day, so he's at his best. He's ready to go. He's really healthy and ready to, for the challenge. I really feel comfortable with him fitting into the offense. He can do all of our stuff. He can play third down, first down, short yardage. You saw him run down by the goal line well earlier in the year, so he'll just figure in.
Doug went down to Olympia today. Just your thoughts on kind of the role he's taken on and all this with.
Yeah, well, I couldn't be more proud of what he's doing. He has continued to carry the torch, for building a bridge, between community and law enforcement, and he's doing some marvelous stuff. I've got feedback from people that he's visited with a number of times now, and he continues to be really impressive and on task, and I think he's going to be a factor. I think he's going to be a legitimate factor to help bring about change, and it's wonderful to see him making the time and applying himself so well, and he has such a unique background with his father being in law enforcement and all of that, and his background in just handling this kind of an effort is really showing up.
There's some coaches who might say it's football season, stick to football. Why is that not your way of doing things?
Because he's doing the right thing. He's doing what needs to be done, and he's very carefully making good use of his time. He's a marvelous competitor and applies himself in every way for us. He's doing just fine.
How did George play when he was out there, and how is he going to be this week for you?
Well, I thought the whole group played well. I thought they played very, maybe the most physical game we've had. Consistent again. He gave up one sack on Russell. I don't know if he got the ball, needed to make a yard, we needed to make another foot, and we wouldn't have had a sack. Russell worked well with the rush. I think they all fit together really well, and George did his part. He continues to play solid, and he's much more comfortable. And Baldwin's a heck of a player he was going against. We went against a terrific front, and one of the best in the NFL. And so I thought the guys held up really well, and George did his part.
Is he okay this week for you?
It looks like it. It looks like he's responded really well, but we've got to wait and see a little bit.
When Russell had multiple injuries, and the coaches talked about whether to play him or rest him, was there a consequence to, if you set him out 1 week, would you really have to sit him out 2 or 3?
Yeah, 1 week wasn't going to make a difference. But if you got a legitimate ankle sprain, it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks anyway. And the knee sprain was going to be 3 or 4 weeks before you would get a legitimate, factor. So the trainers decided that he could endure it and go, and he'd be all right. And with good luck and good fortune, and which we did find our way to, and he made it through it. So if you sat him 1 week, it wasn't going to make a big difference. He was going to still be hampered. So it was just the long haul thinking was he was determined that he could, and he found a way to play. And I think that there's something to that I think great players find a way to still contribute, and they adapt and they make changes, and they still can add to their team in all sports. And I think that was a really great illustration of Russell being able to do that.
And then you had to adapt the play calling, I would assume.
No doubt. I mean, we totally did. You should be able to see very, quite clearly that we had to, and we did. Whether it was the right time or not, I don't know if we were a week late or 2 weeks late or not, but since we've cranked it up and with a really clear intent, you've seen the results, so it's been good.
How did Nico Thorpe and Steven Terrell play, and how comfortable?
Both did really well. Both were very solid, very assignment sound, technique sound, in the right spots throughout. They did a good job, and which is a really good sign for us moving forward in the event that we have those guys playing. So Jeremy played a lot more outside too, and he did a good job. So real good. This was a good testament to our depth, and hopefully. When those guys get their shot, they'll continue. I feel very, very positive that they're going to. If they play, they'll play well.
Russell picked up some yards with his legs yesterday.
He's running.
Is that acceleration kind of the last thing that you feel like came back?
I think the quick burst, that he showed when he had to make his decisions was really the confidence that he demonstrated that he's got and he's returned to, and so. I couldn't be more fired up about that. That's when we're playing ball the way we know how to play, and it's a big factor for us.
Tanner, McAvoy, Brock Coyle, Luke Wilson all had to leave for stretches. Are they all okay?
We'll find out. Tanner's got a great toe sprain that he's dealing with, and Brock's got a sprained foot that he's dealing with. Luke had a little something that tweaked, and all of them look like they'll be all right. We have to wait and see, though.
Are you getting more out of DeMontre Moore than maybe you might have even thought? Or?
Yeah, I think so. And he's a bit of a surprise. When you really dug in and looked at the film and you really checked him out, he played really hard, and it's what I fell in love with. Is okay, let's get this guy in here. He's one of us, And there's a couple plays in this game and just phenomenal efforts, and just exactly what you're hoping to see. And he's tough too, and throws his body around. He's doing a really nice job.
What did you see from John Jenkins?
He did okay. He contributed. He was a little bit more active maybe than we thought he might be for the first couple snaps out there. He did all right. So he's going to come back and help us again. I think he made it through fine, and gives a big body presence with a little more movement than we had, and that was a good sign.
When you look at the kicking game issues, what do you see there, particularly with the blocks and the point after?
That it's league-wide, league-wide. There's stats came out today that there's more missed extra points than there are field goals. It's not even close. I think there's 48 missed extra points, and there's like 2 or 3 field goals that have been missed from the same distance. So something's going on here. We got to work our way through it. Everybody's having problems.
Is there any constant theme to the ones you've been missing the last few weeks?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Is it good for the game, the extra points to live there?
Well, we'll see. I don't know how you determine that. It doesn't matter because it's all the same. So. Obviously, there's more drama, to it. It's not as clear cut as it was. The percentages are probably higher than the missing percentages are probably higher than the league thought it would be, but it has caused for more concern. Our scores, we've been struggling with scores in a number of games already, 3 or 4 games. Where the point really seems to make a difference. So,
Did
yeah.
your situation make you more apt or considering 2 points instead of 1?
No, I don't think any more than anybody else.
Is there any particular issue with the protection schemes when you do that with the guys coming through? It seems most of them come through the interior of your line to get the blocks.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it happens. The timing beats the edge. It's it's the height of the ball that allows the guys to sometimes get it inside. That's where most of the blocks happen. In the old days, timing was a little different, and the guys could come off the edge and knock them down. That happened yesterday. Somebody got one, but it's not very often that happens.
Michael Bennett status this week?
We're going to see what happens. He's going to see how far he can take it. We'll find out. The trainers and doctors are open for if he can make it back, he can play. So we'll see if he's able to do that.
If Thomas and Shed can't go, are Terrell and Dort next up, or are you going to put Lane in?
You wait and see. We'll show you that on the weekend. We'll wait and see how it goes. I got to look at the matchups and stuff. We're not far enough into the plan yet.
You mentioned this morning on the radio 10 to 14 days for the type of injuries that Shed and Thomas had.
Yeah, that's what normal hamstrings are, but these guys aren't necessarily. There's nobody. Well, I can't say it that way. I was going to say less normal than Earl and Shed, but so I guess I said it. But those guys are rare guys, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how they adapt and see what can happen. Deshaun thought he was going to be able to play. He had felt it during the week, just on Saturday I think it was in the walkthrough, and so he thought he was going to be able to go, and then he just felt a little bit of tightening. We said, let's not take a chance because that's when you can really sprain it badly.
Because Thomas is so intense and has never missed a game, do you have to really stay on him and govern him to not do something that would hurt him in the long run, hurt the team in the long run?
I think that's a good assessment. Yeah, Thomas is one of those guys that he's going to push the limits. He's out there, and so we have to really take care of him during the week, and which we'll do. It's already underway, and this is his first real contact, and he legitimately got after it. So he's a little bit trashed today.
Bobby Wagner leads the league in tackles. He's on pace, I think, to set the franchise record. But what have you seen from him, particularly this year, that's made him take another step forward?
He continues to create big plays. He's making plays in the backfield and really kind of standout hits and tackles to go along with all the numbers that he's getting. He had 3, I think, tackles in the backfield yesterday. Just great plays and great tackles and highlight hits. And that's due to his being able to diagnose the plays better than ever. He's better than he's ever been. He's smarter, sharper, more aware, taking advantage of the teaching and the game plan and all of that. And so you're just seeing a guy really hitting it right. He's really on it.
Jaron Reed hit Wentz on the Sherman interception, it looked like. Just what have you seen him here in the past few weeks?
That was a terrific shot right there. Really well-timed and clean and all that. That sends a message, about you coming after him. I think he's doing a really good job. Like we said way back when, we really were excited about our number 1, number 2 picks. These guys have really played good football, and they play like veterans, and so they're doing a nice job. Hey, I won't say about Ifedi, he's only played 3 games now, because I realize that he's played about 7 or 8 or something, so I've been saying that. I can't get away with that anymore. So, but those 2 guys are playing well, and we're just so lucky and fortunate that they jumped up to be big factors like that, and Jaron's doing a great job.
Anything else? Thank you.